Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex, and welcome to the first season of a series I'm going to start doing where we just play different maps. And I'm going to give myself one complete year to just check out the map and see what it's about. We do not have a lot of things on this map, but it kind of matches. This is the old stream farm. Something I wish I had been able to play a long time ago. I remember when I very first picked up my first farm sim game was FS17, and this map was in there, and I really wanted to do a series here, but I didn't know how to do it. Needless to say, I have learned since then. And watch out there, little chickens. So we're just going to play the map. There's no set goal. Actually, I need to do this. So we set our money at 10,000. There we go. So our goal is to just, well, experience the map. No reason to have $10 billion. No reason to, want to build up a bunch of things. There are so many maps like this that I've always wanted to play but never got the chance. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to do those things. Now, I know a lot of people are expecting me to do the map that I had set up on stream the other day. That is coming, but I'm not prepared for that, if that's going to make any sense. What I mean is I do not have the experience necessary to make a good enough series. I tried recording a few episodes and I'm trash. I'm horrible at the video game that I think I know a lot about and have played like 2,000 some odd hours of. But, it's okay to admit that we're bad at something as long as we try to get better at it. So what do I mean? Well, I've never used auto drive, and I don't have auto drive on this save, but it will be on the next one whenever we come to that. And I want to learn to use that. That is a skill I need to know. Another skill I'm going to have is better use of courseplay. Follow me. All of the manual controls. So we're playing with a bunch of things on this one. So we have manual attach, open and closing states, and all of the REA mods. So should be a pretty good time. Now I really like this mod of the CLAAS. So it looks just amazing. Let's just be honest with ourselves. The CLAAS is CLAAS. So what am I missing here about folding out? I want to have straw swath enabled, and I would like this to turn on. Oh, I don't have these hooked up. I'm forgetting fun things. There we go. I bet I can fold this out now. So we have 60 cows to take care of. We have the farm finances to worry about. We have just a bunch of things that we need to do. And, it's the normal farm sim kind of thing, where we just kind of, figure it out. And the first thing we need to do is make some straw bales. I haven't introduced you to the tractors yet because, well, we don't need them just yet. We are going to be doing just a few things here. I want to get a couple headlands opened up here so I can get the worker going, and then we'll go get the first tractor. What I want to do with these series is experiment on different camera angles, different ways of doing things. So I'm running a full manual transmission this time as well, something I've only ever done a couple of times. We're running, again, all of the hard mods. We're running the game on hard. There's just so many different things to do, and I'm not going to be focused on maximizing productivity. What I want to do is get better at making interesting videos, and the reason for that is, well, you guys don't really seem, you seem interested in some things I do, but not a lot of the things I do, and that's completely fine. But if I want this channel to grow, then I need to step up my game. And by stepping up my game means doing things completely differently. I am one to want to do all of the things in the time lapse. I am the one that wants to do most of the work. And that's great for that kind of gameplay where, you know, in the survival series, we went out on our own and we did the thing, right? Like, we built up the housing, then we could get workers. But everything was basically done by me, and then I forgot to really utilize them. So I need to break myself of that habit of doing the survival, you know, play, and really start taking my time on how I want to do things. So that means even slowing down slower than, you know, I would go at normally. Okay, so we're running at half speed. If I was doing a time lapse, I would set the worker to be around half speed so we can get more dynamic shots. I don't want to time lapse the entire operation. I want to do highlights of certain things that happen. So it's something that we're going to try, and it's going to cause a little bit of weirdness in some of the videos. Nothing terrible, but it is going to be a little bit more shooting from the hip. I'm going to go out of my comfort zone on how I want to do things and how we want things to look and all of that. I have also rebound a ton of keys from my controller back onto the keyboard. I was playing mostly with the controller for a few reasons. I mean, it was ease, and I could make smoother transitions with the camera. I'm pretty good at turning with the camera and the controller, which is fine, but I always really sucked at zooming out. So I've moved some controls around. We're doing just a bunch of different things. So give it a go. I please just ask you, please give the video a like. If you like what I'm trying to do, please subscribe, but give it a chance before you say, this guy's went off the deep end and he's completely lost. He's lost the plot. Another thing that we're going to be doing is I'm going to be making the transition from 1080p recording to 4K recording. I'm going to skip 1440p altogether. I'm tired of my videos looking very muddy. And that's not going to be this series, but I'm hoping, because the channel is growing, that very soon I'll be able to do 4K, because I'll have enough income to buy another computer. What I want to do is kind of offload what my PC is always trying to do. This would be mainly a workstation at that point, and then I want to get a full-on gaming rig for capturing everything. Right now, the way I'm doing things is I'm capturing, we're doing all the encoding off this computer. I have done thousands upon thousands upon thousands of kilobytes and gigabytes and megabytes of data, you know, recording on this computer, and it's actually had a bad effect on the computer's life, honestly. So it's starting to degrade on the solid state drive, so I'm going to go into onto the new computer. Whenever I do the recording, it's going to be on hard disk, set up in, I think they call it a RAID. That way I'm saving you know, the longevity of the computer that way. This is not something I know a lot about. I'm just going off of setups that I've seen recently and how I want the whole thing to work. So that's kind of where we're at on that part. So the biggest change for me is really going to be capturing moments instead of capturing gameplay. And I think that's really going to be tough. So, you know, I'm already bouncing around on different camera angles, trying to keep the gameplay fresh, right? So, you know, I'm not constantly in this view. You guys are so used to seeing me in around that view that I'm sure it looks a little different. But let me head back down to the farm and I'll introduce you to the first tractor. So this is our... Hello, chicken. How are you, chicken? Just... Okay, you're phasing through reality. That's great. Good for you. Anyway, we're running a Ford because you guys know I do love Ford things. A 7610 Gen 3 to be exact. And this was put together by, I want to say, AMG Gaming and Bullet Bill. And it's just... It's chef's kiss. I love this thing. I have had such a good time moving around equipment with this. It sounds good. It feels great. The transmission makes sense. It's a good mod. And I think it's perfectly sized for what we have to do. Now, this isn't a UK map. This is a German map, I'm decently sure. So we've got a little bit of mix of everything. We've got some Ford, we've got a Deere, of course, we have CLAAS, JCB, Massey. We've got just a lot of stuff, and I think that we're going to do pretty well here. And the trailer is made by 40 Modding, and I'm really enjoying it. It has a slight issue with all the REA mods, but that's okay. Please be okay, trailer. Thank you. There you go. You're fine. You're fine. It's okay. We'll let you rest. It's okay. Don't shake around too much. One of the biggest changes for me is going to be really understanding shot composition and cuts. I am just way too... I mean, look, I'm automatically in this phase, right? Like, I'm worried about capturing exactly what I'm doing instead of talking about what we're doing. What we're doing is harvesting a buttload of wheat, and we're going to use the straw from this to put down for our cows so we can have some manure to spread, so we don't have to spend all of the fun prices for fertilizer, because the world market on fertilizer is absolutely just crazy. Thankfully, here in the US, they have started to build manufacturing facilities to help supply the rest of the world with some more fertilizer. We're not only... Well, we were never only, but not really rely on the current occupying force of a certain country, let's say.
I can't get diamonds so pearls, and I'm gonna take you traveling the world. But I can love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'll give you the whole of what I've got, the fancy finds, baby, I have not. Just gonna love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you, baby. Cross my heart and hope to die. Mobile phone, expensive shoes, you can get your own. Just gonna love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. Just gonna love you, yeah, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you, babe. Cross my heart and hope to die.
did pretty good there. So I tried a few different things. You guys are going to have to let me know down in the comments below what you think of that instead of a normal time-lapse. So we're going to go get the next tractor, and we're going to start baling up this field, and we have just a ton of other things to do as well. We need to just get cracking on with it. So we do have some chickens to take care of as well. I'm going to try and just give them a little bit of this wheat, and I think that'll work. None of the animals here seem to take water, which I thought was kind of odd. Oh, okay, they're just going to take chicken feed then. So that's its own set of things then. Alright, well, at least we have a little bit of money to start with. I can get them a couple bags of chicken feed, and we'll get them going. The biggest thing for me to learn is the controls for forward and reverse toggling along with gear changes. I struggled so much during that last section trying to find the right gear out in the wild. And I think that's why a lot of people just use auto drive and workers and course play for taking their shots. Is you can get the shot that you want by just having the game play itself. So you're more focused on getting the shots instead of just doing everything. So that's its own set of issues. But we did bring in roughly 16,000 liters of wheat out of that one field, and we have plenty more to go. And if I can remember, the key that turns its home, that turns off the beacon. So let me hop in the new tractor that you guys haven't seen, and I'll get over in the field. So this is a John Deere 6910, and the S is because it has chip tuning. I wanted to use this tractor, and it just needed that little bit more oomph. And this should be the 6-cylinder model, and I think that's a 6.8 liter E-Tech engine. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm decently sure that that's what that is. If I am wrong, let me know. But we're going to do a little bit of baling, and we have the old 1200 CLAAS quadrant, and I think that's going to be a pretty good fit for what we've got going on. And I just need to remember that this is going to require a certain gear, and I don't know what gear it is. It looks like I'm struggling, so is it B? It might be B. That seems pretty stable here. It looks like we're starting to pick up some speed at a decent rate. So that's going to be another thing that's kind of weird, because I have all of the mods learning what gear to be in to match the PTO RPM and everything of that nature. It's going to be a little odd. So if we go into C, I mean, that brings us up to speed, but I don't know. And I'm not running a speed mod this time, so I don't know how fast I can run this baler, but honest to God truth, that 12 kilometers an hour seemed to be where I would run it. Now, I know that some people are going to be like, I'd run it way more than that, but you got to understand where I'm coming from with this series. So I'm hoping that these bales are a decent size, and we're not going to have 10 million of them. The last thing I want is to do another 3,000 bales in one series in just a few episodes. Again, this series is not going to be that long, but yeah, I don't want to have to be moving 10,000 bales. There is a couple things that we do need to buy. I did not get a straw blower, and I don't know if this map requires one or not. I guess we're going to find out. That's another reason for wanting to play these maps. I don't know everything about them, which is super duper fun. And I think that learning's just a ton of what this game can be. So we're just going to cycle through a couple gears here, make sure we get a gear that works. It looks like B now that we have some weight on it and are charging uphill. So B uphill, C downhill. Maybe we get a little bit up and down on our speed. We are well above the requirements for horsepower for this thing. It requires 120 and we're at 185, 195, something of that nature. So plenty of power. I'm worried a little bit about the weight of the tractor for some of the other jobs that we have to do, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I can always just change up some stuff. Now we do have, we have goals in the idea of, we can't buy anything that we can't afford. I'm not just going to give myself $10 million and go ham. So if we need to make a change, then it needs to be a logical change in what we do and where we're going to get it from and how we're going to get it and all that other stuff. There's always the chance to find another tractor. We're not running the used mod on this one, so we only have 4 slots on our used equipment list, but if something interesting pops up, hey, it's fair game for everybody as well. What else can we do in this series? I'm sure that there is a ton. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to get too awful many bales here out of this field. These are fairly large bales. It looks like they're about 8,500, maybe 8,000. Oh, I guess we're going to see here in just a second. Looking like 82, 8250. So a little bit in between there. But I kind of like that for not having to get 10 million bales. So I'm actually a-okay with that. Actually, that is the very first bale that has popped out that I know about. So if we get 3 bales out of this field, that's super duper good. I wonder if we can berth a bale on this pass. I'm sure that we can. It's fairly close. Come on, little fella. You can do it. Be born. Be seen. You're not going to do it, are you? It's okay, guy. You're so close. Just fall off. Come on. There we go. I like this baler. I am glad that I picked this up. It does very well. I know it says it's made in France, but everybody's neighbors in Europe, right? I think that's how that works. The language thing over there is what kills me. I could never be a European because I only know one language. What I'm hoping is whenever I'm able to get the new setup is to go ahead and get some IR tracking, so whenever I turn my head, you guys can kind of see what I'm looking at. Because one thing I really did and still do enjoy about farming is the views that you get. You get to see things that a lot of people in this world don't get to see, whether it be nature or people being stupid or nature. no, there's just a lot going on. You're running across a field and you don't realize what all you're looking at until you don't get to look at it anymore. Whenever I was running the combine, just looking down, you would think, oh, all you see is the ground, but you start seeing, wildlife, for one, different bees, rabbits, we didn't see any foxes, but plenty of coyotes and deer and everything, and you would run up on them, and you would think that a combine coming across a field would cause animals to leave before you even got there, but it never happened until you got on top of them. And I've seen deer closer that away than I ever have in a car or walking around or anything like that. I think it's because they don't see you as a threat per se. You're just big and scary. So, you know, we would be driving along and I would just be looking in the row and you would see, you know, rabbits hopping across, and not even in the row, but in other areas. You know, you're constantly seeing eagles and hawks and just so much scenery. You're in the open all day, and being outdoors that much when you're indoors is probably where a lot of people's love for farming come. Like, I don't think anybody really loved farming in like the 20s and 30s. I figured that a lot of them did it because it needed to be done. And I'm sure that there were things that you could love about it, but the job itself, not so much. I don't think it was until the invention of the enclosed cab that you really had farmers enjoying doing it, because you're outside while out of the elements, if that makes sense. You're in a giant glass box and you're up higher than most of the other surroundings in your area, and there's just so much to look at. Where the older equipment, the Lord knows I've run enough of the older stuff at this point, you're busy doing manual labor, not so much, you know, focusing on other things. You know, as technology is advanced, we have the ability to stop and do other things. And I know that sounds really, really weird, but it's honestly how I think about it. When I was running the host cart, I could never pay attention to what was going on. I had to pay attention to the job I was doing. And, you know, there were times where, yes, you would take a moment and breathe in the slow life, but in that kind of situation, it was go time all the time. When you got in an applicator tractor, you're running across the field at 2.5 miles an hour for hours a day. Does it get boring sometimes? Yes, but I think it takes a lot for it to get boring. Especially for me. I don't seem like an outdoorsy person, but I can literally just go and sit and enjoy nature. So, yeah, I think that's what I like about it the most. And the game, with a controller or a mouse or anything, it doesn't give off the same vibes. Like the field of view isn't correct. You can't really see around you all the time. We don't have, you know, these great scenes outside of a very couple choice maps. And I think having track R would kind of help around with that. Like, you know, I would be looking at cows. Like, I can watch cows all day. I've done it for 4 years. I watch cows at the pit, just hanging out. Hey, look, moo cows. I like cows. I think that they're cool. And I can just hang out. And I want you guys to kind of look at what I'm looking at, because it's hard for me to just focus and look at different aspects of the game and explain, you know, hey, look at this thing, and I want to point at it, but I can't point at it, which kind of sucks. So I think that's the main reason for wanting to do a series like this, is just I want to experience more. And I think that this is a good way to experience more about the game and bring you guys along with me. But I think that I'm completely out of time for today's recording. It doesn't seem like we got a lot done. I'm actually quite tickled with the amount of things that I was able to get done. And we should be able to go ahead and pass on to the next day, where we're going to harvest the rest of everything. I might do a couple fields off screen just to get them done, so we can start focusing on what's next. So thank you all so much for watching. Please give me some feedback on what you would like to see me do, and we'll kind of go from there. I'm not really too worried about in this first installment of this series to be too goal focused. I just kind of want to really establish the map and kind of the goals for what we're going to do, and we'll expand on it from there. So thank you all again, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.